Hello there, thank you for stopping by and checking in. We are working through the start of what it looks like to counsel yourself or to counsel somebody else. And the first week we examined what is it that you need to look for in a counselor, what should they be asking of you, how they should be getting to know you. And then the second week we focused on hope and on trust. And this week we are going to start putting feet to what we want in counseling, and that is by personally looking at our own growth, a personal improvement plan. So what I'd like you to consider as I'm working through this and as you're thinking through what I'm saying is to pick one bad habit. Evaluate an area of your life where you'd like to see change, where you think you need to change, and how do you plan and how to plan a course of personal growth in that area. What do you need to overcome? So to begin, choose something doable and manageable. Now it may start out as something small that you choose, and as you progress working through it you realize it's the tip of an iceberg. However, you may choose something which is a major big issue in your life and you think it's just this one huge big thing, and if you can work it out, everything else will fall in line. And then as you look at it, you realize it's multifaceted. There are many elements to that huge big issue that you weren't even aware of, that they truly were part of it, but they are. So choosing a big life issue usually necessitates you break it down through contemplating your actions related to it. How do you understand? And even if it's a small issue, the same criteria applies. Contemplate your actions, anything associated with that behavior, with that thing that you want to change, what feeds it, what gives it life, and other aspects around it. What are your heart attitudes? What are your thoughts and emotions and your feelings related to it? And as I said, you should look at and select one issue. Once you've done that, describe the problem in detail. Friends, even if you're looking at an issue in your own life that you want to work through, you know it's something that rattles you about your life. For instance, as I learned what human nature is and how to examine it, and I always thought I was shy because everybody through my life said I was shy, but as I came to understand it, it was the tip of an iceberg, and shyness is really self-absorption with your own comfort levels in social situations, and then that overflows if it's left unchecked from childhood into other social issues, not even social issues, personal issues, and so therefore multifaceted. Unless you truly think it through and you describe it and you look at all those things around it which affect it, you aren't going to be able to start addressing it as you would want to bring those life changes which you are vying for and want in your life. Who doesn't want to have a wonderful, free in Christ life that is productive? So how long have you experienced it? When does it reveal itself? How does it? And is it revealed in your actions, words, and in how you behave? And what are all of those? Write it down. Is this behavior in isolation, or is it the result of your being triggered? How often are you triggered? Is it a regular thing? Is it a normal for your life? And to be triggered needs a careful examination, because when you are triggered by something, it means that something is more deeply rooted in your hidden character than you realized were there. Because if something comes along and shows you the depth of an issue in your life, it's not that thing, that trigger, that is at fault. It's that deep issue in your life which is being exposed. Again, how often are you, and how regularly is it? How deep-seated is this issue in your life? Has it been something that has affected your functioning for a week, a month, a year, 10, 20, 30 years, if not more? is it long-standing, right? That's something you need to look at. And then historically, what has exposed this issue in your life to you? When do you think it started? Can you define that early experience, what it was, what revealed? And maybe it's something that you haven't been aware of, and all of a sudden in life you find that you're angry about a certain thing. But the more you peel the layers of the onion back, you get down to that inner part of you that was in some way affected by something at some point in your life. Have there been solutions to the issue in the past, kind of like a band-aid on the area you're trying to work to overcome? It's suited you to have that band-aid to mask it, but deep down it's still there, festering, waiting for the next trigger to expose the depth of it. If there were some solutions, if there were masks, if there were salves, what were they, and why did, even for a short period of time, did they work, and why didn't they work? What caused them not to work in the long term? What about now? How are you managing with it right now? Although it's something that you think you may need to address because it reared its ugly head a month ago, right now it's not there, and you know that the next time something comes to you and triggers, it's going to come back up. So what about now? What is comfortable in your life now that you're not being called to pay attention to that one area? Why do you want to work on it now, and why do you want to work on it biblically? What is it about what you've heard about applying the scriptures to your life that is intriguing and interesting to you? Do you know somebody else's testimony? Do you have a personal testimony to share with yourself to encourage you? Why are you, and furthermore, why are you still struggling with this problem? You could say, of course, I've not worked on it as deeply as I should. Yes, but what is the true grip it has on you? Then consider, what does overcoming this look like to me? What time frame am I going to put on this to work on it, to overcome it? What duration of time? What does and will progress look like as I maneuver along? If I reach that date of not having achieved the result or the expectation, what will my thought be about the work I've done so far? Will I find encouragement in the journey I've taken, in how far I've come, and then extend the date and diligently work to achieve my goal? How will that affect me? How will you view it as you work through your progress, whether you achieve it or you fail to reach your objective? Is this your opportunity for growth, the short term, the long term? How are you wanting to allow this to pattern future areas in your life that you may want to work on, or that you may want to encourage others with? Understand your full picture of change and how you're planning to work on it. Now, as you have thought about that one issue in your life, don't whitewash it to make it look a little better than you think it is. Name it biblically. Claim it biblically, because then you can understand what God's will for you is in it. So let's look at some scriptures which allow us to call certain areas in our life what they are, and then we will know how much the Lord wants us to work to overcome them. So let's take a look at Mark 7, starting at verse 21. And I'm reading from the English Standard Version. For from within, out of the heart of man, come evil thoughts, sexual immorality, theft, murder, adultery, coveting, wickedness, deceit, sensuality, envy, slander, pride, foolishness. All these things come from within, and they defile a person. That's the triggers. Other people may say something, do something, even adultery. It's somebody may approach you, attempt to seduce you, but it's what's within you that succumbs to that. Those are the outer triggers. The willingness to step into something sinful is within us, and we need to say what it is in order to know biblically what God says about it so that we can begin to work on it. Let's take a look at Galatians chapter 5, verses 19 through 21. Now the works of the flesh are evident: sexual immorality, impurity, sensuality, idolatry, sorcery, enmity, strife, jealousy, fits of anger, rivalries, dissensions, divisions, envy, drunkenness, orgies, and things like these. I warn you, as I warned you before, that those who do such things will not inherit the kingdom of God. But the fruit of the Spirit is, and so it continues. So one will expose to you what the habits are that you need to put off, and continues to show you what you should be working out in your life. Let's take a look at Ephesians chapter 4, starting at verse 25. Therefore, having put away falsehood, let each one of you speak the truth with his neighbor, for we are members of one another. As this passage continues, it focuses on anger and malice a whole lot. Stealing, theft, it focuses on that. And then as you go into chapter 5, up to verse number 5, it speaks about immorality, impurity, covetousness, etc. And those things need to be put off. Friends, it is vast, the number of areas in our lives that we can pick on to work through. Now, you may think that the phone call you made this morning to somebody who knows an acquaintance of yours, and this person's an acquaintance, and you update them to the events of that person's life, you may not think it was gossip. Was it? Is it? Did you break a confidence, or did you hint just enough about who that person could possibly be without saying their name that others will know? That's gossip. That's something you can work on, because gossip, envy, slander, all those things, covetousness, are all things that are so negative and often reside in us more than we'd like to admit, and they need to be dealt with. How deeply do we need to deal with it? Let's take a look at James chapter 5, verse 8. And it says the following: you also be patient, establish your hearts, for the coming of the Lord is at hand. Now, yes, we know he's coming. The day of the Lord will be here. He will return at some time. But what about tomorrow morning? Isn't he going to be in your life then? Isn't he in your life for the rest of the day? Isn't it time, friends, to establish your heart, to make it a place comfortable for him to visit with you in it? I think that makes it worthwhile to work on a personal plan for progress individually, and as we learn to do that, we will then have more compassion and empathy for others, and we can encourage them too. I will continue to work on this for this week, and I will share with you again on Friday. So until then, take care and God bless. Bye bye for now.